Chud the Builder.
He told me I was his first. I'd love to be wrong. Like, please, God, prove me wrong.
Last year, May 2025, I Chud the
Builder.
Builder.
I met him from Grindr, but that's not even like news at this point. Apparently, we all fucked this dude.
It's like, he treated me like a normal girl, agreed to be seen with me in public, wasn't pushy about pictures. When he agreed to take me out, he said, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. My town hates me. They are always screenshotting my Grindr, calling me gay and shit just because I'm autistic. It was like, damn, that sucks. It's just funny how he framed it in hindsight. Baby, like, they're doing that because you're like racist. Like, you go into places and say the N-word, not because you're on Grindr and autistic. Yeah, so last year, May 2025, I Chud the Builder. Women and femboys, they're the only people who want to act feminine. He sent me these texts with his baby mama, who was Latina, months later after a date. She said, go live happily ever after with a dude. Get him, girl. And then he said, back in the day, when women were made to be feminine, that's when society was the best and the least gay shit occurred. Every time women get out of hand, the facts go back to the Roman days and dudes who are more femme than their fat girlfriends are. Women are so manly, dudes would rather fuck a femboy than come home to their GF. Bitches who act like dudes will call men gay for fucking femboys who are more feminine than they are. In quotes.
How dare you not want to come home and man with a pussy?
Sorry, babe, I'd rather fuck a girl with a dick than an N-word with a mid pussy like yours. Cry laughing emoji. My friend made a good point where she's like, yeah, bro, like you really owned your baby mama. I know it's like not base, like it's very misogynist. Just say you think it's hot, bro. Like, that's all. It's not really just how hot he was. Yo, look at this last selfie he sent me, actually, from a new faceless Grindr profile.
I'm gonna find it.
Look at this fucking picture. He's so hot. I had to go digging through the text to find it, and I knew I'd send it to my friend, but I fucking screamed when I saw what she had said. Like, Dalton started messaging me on Grindr again. She said, LMAO, why the fuck is he pretty? If he wasn't like a future murderer, I'd be lit as fuck for you. Shout out my girl for being an oracle, I guess. I said that to her. She's like, on God, I never miss.
And then I said,
neither did Chud, unfortunately. We cuddled on my couch and made out. I've struggled finding a good word for what happened next, because I think like simulated sex, it's too vague, and frauding is too specific. But at some point, I put it between his thighs. Not his ass, unfortunately. We were like kissing. He flexed his legs together, which it's funny from like Mr. I'm not a gay bottom. Like, I remembered this. Like, this came back to me. What we did was kind of more gay. Like, bruh, you just got your chud-ussy pounded. What else have you got to lose? Like, just flip over. Why am I losing my voice? I felt like Dalton wanted a trainee trad wife. We talked a lot about his job. I don't think he ever asked about mine. Several times after doing things for him, he called me a good girl. It was hot, like, don't get me wrong, but there was something unnerving about it. As corny as it sounds, I wondered what would happen if I was a bad girl. Chud was very intense. Ted Bundy stare and all that. He was bigger than me, and he would switch from being overly affectionate to annoyed and angry. Later down the road, he would neg me over text like, I miss your big forehead. And if I pushed back, he excused it.
You know I love you.
Which for one date, he said I love you like a few times. I said it back. I didn't want to get murdered. Maybe I did mean it. But like we both meant it a little bit. Because we're broken fucking people. Last year, May 2025, Chud the Builder.
Chud the Builder has been in jail for a little over a month, but people are still talking about him almost every day. More news is coming out, whether you hate him or you support him. One of the things that's really been discussed is this idea of Chud the Builder's sexuality. It first came out when
I have not Dalton since like 2015. He was a little chubbier then. His cheeks used to clap. And
lady was, and he came out with some other. Then there was a TikToker by the name of Poppers who went super viral, who lived in Clarksville, Tennessee. I believe that's where Chud the Builder's from. And he came out with some other information.
Also, I don't know if it's already public knowledge, but like that Chud the Builder guy, the blatantly racist white guy that's in Tennessee and like just is blatantly racist, we're from the same town. And multiple times he sent me and my other gay boyfriends nudes on Grindr. So
now he mentions the Grindr app that Chud the Builder was on, sending him and his quote unquote gay boyfriends pictures. But again, no receipts, right?
He's right, you know.
So people could have said,
stop the cap.
But then there is another person claiming to have evidence of Chud the Builder. And this person identifies as a transsexual. And this person has some really interesting proof. Outside of the text messages, we can clearly see that Chud the Builder knows this person. Chud the Builder is kissing with this person, and this individual and Chud obviously have some level of relationship. So in comparisons to the other two, we can infer that this relationship or friendship is legit. And the individual in question says the following.
These women and femboys, they're the only people who want to act feminine. He sent me these texts with his baby mama, who was Latina, months later after a date. She said, go live happily ever after with a dude.
So Chud the Builder's baby mama happens to be Hispanic, and the baby mother has found out that Chud the Builder is at least talking to this person or is engaging with a transgender women, what Chud the Builder would also call femboys. And it's gotten so bad that Chud the Builder's baby mama says, you need to go live with this man. This leads me to believe that this wasn't a one-off, that Chud the Builder had so many encounters with so-called femme boys that because of this, the baby mother was so upset, believing that this is what he truly wanted. This was a part of his true sexuality. So he should go and just live with this person. Now, the individual here believes that it was because of their relationship, but ultimately I believe it was many relationships and this one just had to be called out. And then
he said, back in the day when women were made to be feminine, that's when society was the best and the least gay occurred. Every time women get out of hand, the facts go back to the Roman days and dudes who are more femme than their fat girlfriends are. Women are so manly. Dudes would rather fuck a femboy than come home to their GF. Bitches who act like dudes will call men gay for femboys who are more feminine than they are, in quotes.
How dare you not want to come home and man with a...
Sorry, babe. I'd rather fuck a girl with a dick than an N-word with a mid like yours.
I want to look at the framework and the style of argumentation of Chud the Builder. For people who wouldn't believe that this is not true, just think about what Chud the Builder's argument is. Chud the Builder's argument for racism is, well, black people can say whatever they want to say about white people, so then it must be okay for me to do what I'm doing to black people, because an eye for an eye. So the way that Chud the Builder justifies his actions is if X, Y, and Z happens, then I should also be able to do the secondary action. That's pretty much how he looks at things. So with that level of thinking and then comparing it to what's happening here, he's comparing the fact that women are not feminine, but femboys, as he will call it, they are feminine. And because these particular men who are transgenders or become trans women are feminine, that gives me the right to do it because they act more like women than the women themselves should be acting. Now, it may sound weird to you. You may not agree with his reasoning, but if you look at the logic, it does match. The same racist ideology he uses to approach black people or attack black people is what he's using to attack women. And to be honest, a lot of people on the alt-right, especially white supremacists, tend to have somebody like Chud the Builder's case, dating somebody like Nick Fuentes. I'm not gonna say this is equal, but it's similar. They can justify other mechanisms of dating women. In Chud the Builder's case, dating a transgender woman, in his case, is better than the feminine woman because she's the B word, all right? And this makes me believe that this is actually the truth because the thinking matches. So I have no reason to believe that this is a lie. And then,
yo, look at this last selfie he sent me actually from a new faceless Grindr profile.
I'm gonna find it.
Look at this fucking picture. He's so odd. I had to go digging through the text to find it, and I knew I'd sent it to my friend, but I screamed when I saw what she had said. Like, Dalton started messaging me on Grindr again. She said, LMAO, why the is he pretty? If he wasn't like a future murderer, I'd be lit as for you. Shout out my girl for being an oracle, I guess. I said that to her. She's like, on God, I never miss.
And then I said,
neither did Chud, unfortunately. We cuddled on my couch and made out. I've struggled finding a good word for what happened next because I think like simulated sex, it's too vague, and frauding is too specific. But at some point, I put it between his thighs. Not as unfortunately. We were like kissing. He flexed his legs together, which it's funny from like Mr. I'm not a gay bottom. Like, I remembered this. Like, this came back to me. What we did was kind of more gay. Like, bruh, you just got your chud-ussy pounded. What else have you got to lose? Like, just flip over.
so Chud the Builder messages the individual from the new Grindr profile. Now, they have some intimate relationship or something happens. The transgender, a woman puts the penis in between Chud's lap or something like that, or thighs, and Chud reacts as if he's not a bottom. And it's crazy because this is something that was inside of the text message, and I believe I have it here. So Chud writes, they called me a lot but never called me a bottom. She hates that she knows I'm not gay, but I'd rather F you than her. Makes her question why, because most women are allergic to accountability, so the answer is never maybe. I act like a dude so much he is turned off by me, but they act feminine so much that he is turned off by them.
Boy, you don't sit your stupid ass down. Who the f you think you is?
So the individual saying, Chud, why don't you just turn around already? Now, I'm gonna tell you why I believe this story. Because the individual could have just said, look, I clapped Chud's cheeks, you know, but it seems like, okay, it didn't happen. It was close to happening, which seems like a very realistic answer for a man like Chud the Builder, who is not necessarily the person that receives the clapping, but wants to give it out to a male or a transgender woman. And so this seems idealistic. Also because it matches the argument that Chud was trying to make, which is very similar to the racism. But then I have an issue with people.
Or an attribute that has nothing.
Chud being gay. What's the problem with you people? And I think the big issue here for people that support Chud the Builder is because he acts as if it's all about the white race. He's a Christian. He's a family man. But ultimately, this is the third incident that we're hearing about him, you know, being on Grindr. He's into men. He's into feminine boys or femboys, as they call it. So this is not the identity that he's selling his followers, because I largely don't believe if Chud the Builder was going out saying, I'm bisexual, and I happen to be a white supremacist or racist, that he would get the level of support that he does, okay? But Chud, in fact, not only dislikes black people, Chud the Builder has a problem with cis women. And that's a big issue for white supremacists because you need to have white women and respect for white women. I'm not saying all of them, right? But you got to have at least respect for white women to keep your race pure. Now, the one thing that you cannot have if you're a white supremacist or on the alt-right or even a white nationalist, and I know people have different groups, even though there is some people that's taking the, kind of the black pill over there, is somebody who is participating in homosexual behavior and refusing to take care of the white women that's supposed to restore the white race. It just doesn't add up. And ultimately, people have donated to this guy. And I believe that there's going to be more of these sorts of stories coming out. I mean, people find it funny. I think that it largely is not necessarily funny, although it's kind of going out sad because, I mean, this is the best thing that they have right now, which is a guy like Chud the Builder, which is comical at best.